In the new patch notes, there was a section that talked about sight alignment for the AK. Come to find out, it actually greatly improved center screen aligning with your crosshair, even on reflex sights, any type of dot sight, as well as the iron sights, I believe. I tested it on the MDR and the ACR, so it's not just the AK that benefited from this. That's a great change. One thing that I noticed that actually improved my performance recently was turning on DirectX 12 rendering. I don't know if it's something with Windows 11 or what the case may be. Try it, it might help you out. You have to restart the game after changing the setting. Today a new patch dropped on XDefiant, changing a faction many deem overpowered, as well as reducing the frequency of kill trading. I spent some time in game to get my thoughts on the changes. Phantoms just got their health reduced to 115 and their movement speed reduced by 5%. This can be mitigated by certain attachments, but it's still a nerf regardless. They also received a 1 second longer health regeneration delay, which adds insult to injury. I don't know if that was necessary to add the health delay, but I'm sure people who dislike those sweaty phantoms will be a fan of it regardless. This brings up the question, which faction should get a nerf next? I honestly feel like between the footstep audio currently and how overpowered it feels to get firebomb done to you, the cleaners need a nerf. On top of everything else, it feels like their hitbox is just off. I'm not sure if it's just the tank on their back or the character model being much wider than their hitbox, causing shots to sometimes seemingly phase through them, but something needs to be done. With Season 2, it seems like Echelon has gotten a stealth buff to their cloak, being way harder to see and hear. I think the cloak is harder to see because of a lighting change that is most noticeable on the map Attica Heights, where there's a glaring sun in the skybox depending on where you're at on the map. I noticed recently while playing with an Echelon on my team who was using the radar that I could see the radar circle sweeps, so it looks like the previous change that made it where you only see the radar like a personal UAV was reverted to reveal enemies for your whole team ever since Season 2. I don't really mind this personally as it feels like a team related ability and it also has a fairly long cooldown. Prior to this, the ability felt like it was completely destroyed when it didn't show info to anybody but yourself. What are your thoughts on this? Spiderbot feels like its nerf can't come soon enough despite the amount of counters it does have. It never seems to get less annoying to go against. It just doesn't feel good to be taken out of the fight in some situations where countering it forces you to completely slow down your playstyle, or countering it just causes you to be a free kill. This isn't a faction, but I think flashbangs deserve a notable mention. They're just downright annoying and toxic to play against. I also wish proximity mines were easy to see. Maybe had a flashing light on them or a little noise they made or something. You can slide past them or crouch directly next to them and take like 25 damage, but if you jump and you go 50 feet away from them, you still die, which is just comical to me. Speaking of easier to see, the new scrap turret for the Highwayman needs a bolder outline around it, more akin to enemy outlines in game, so it doesn't catch you off guard so bad. I know that's maybe the point of it, but sometimes it just feels so invisible. Kind of like me sometimes. I think that it's a question of, do you prefer realism or should it be more arcadey and easy to read? Because it's like there's always a clash between something being realistic or something being fun and arcadey. I think the launcher for the Highwayman possibly needs a buff, as funny as that sounds. I've seen maybe 3 people get multi-kills with it, and usually I barely see anybody running it in general. I think it's a clear consensus that the turret is just better. Some people don't like the Libertad ult, but I think it's perfectly fair and it's a good tool for solo players. Their whole kit seems fairly balanced. I noticed earlier how strong it can be when I was just following a random teammate around the map on TDM, benefiting from their healing. I think I'm going to start doing that more because damn, it's effective. If you're playing with some friends, designate one of them to be Libertad and stand next to him the whole entire match and watch how much better you do. As overpowered as it seems, I actually think that's the most balanced class in the game. It really fits into its role. I think these are all the possible nerfs I can think of that could improve the cheesiness of some of the factions in the game and rein in things to feel more shooter first rather than ability spammy. I think there's a delicate balance of gunplay and hero shooter elements in a game like this. Hope everybody's having a great week so far and you enjoy the changes with this latest patch. I've found a new strategy I'm using for my mastery camo grind. I'm simply using the weapons I least enjoy first, so the grind feels increasingly easier and more enjoyable, as well as switching around between weapons every 50 levels or so to keep things fresh, as opposed to doing a single weapon at a time how I was previously doing. This will cause far less burnout and frustration while playing, I think. Let me know if you're doing the grind or if you're just playing for fun with your favorite weapons. What is your favorite weapon? If you made it this far into the video, consider liking and subscribing, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you so much to all my subscribers. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000 every single video.
Zone under assault.